Hi, I'm Bob Stains. I help experienced mediators and other professionals to expand their business by teaching them to facilitate group dialogues on complex issues that divide organizations and communities. By doing so, I help them to expand their practice, extend their skills, increase their income, and most importantly, repair businesses, organizations, and communities that are torn by deep divisions and polarization. My career mission is to equip as many professionals as possible to create structured conversations that can transform communities. Today I'm going to talk with you about three things. An opportunity to expand your practice by working with me and a small group of colleagues to help groups that are hotbeds of conflict or deserts of avoidance to cultivate the conditions that transform through the power of dialogue. And many mediators and other ADR professionals like arbitrators, ombudspeople, etc., find themselves in the same position that I was in before I started doing serious dialogue work. They're limited in the amount of money they can generate because they're often working with only two people or a small group. They have been trained to use tools and techniques to help people reach agreements on material, substance, and custody disputes, which do not work well for groups where conflict is rooted in difference, especially differences in identity, values, social class, age, etc., which may have become divisions. Those conflicts cannot be mediated. Or they may lack the tools, the skills, and the knowledge necessary to offer dialogue services that will transform conversations, relationships, and communities while doing no damage. They are limited in the effects that their work can have because it's often restricted to a specific conflict with particular parties in a particular context. Impacts are also often minimal on organization culture and on the supporting context and the recurring patterns of communication that sustain dysfunction in human systems. This limits the kinds of clients they can serve, as well as the kinds of conflicts they can engage, which in turn limits opportunities for income growth. Maybe as I was years ago, you're looking for more. More impact, more challenge, more stimulation, and more money. I can help you. I can add to the knowledge and skills that you already have and help you offer dialogue services to businesses, community groups, and nonprofit organizations. I'm going to talk with you today about how to expand your practice to help groups deal with the hardest issues of heart and passion that are not responsive to mediation. I'll speak a bit about what mediation can accomplish and what some of the limits are. And I'll talk about my own experience and professional transformation and tell you how you can magnify your impact, multiply the context and clients you work with, and improve the tenor of conversation in our world through the power of intentionally designed conversation or dialogue. Lastly, I'll talk about the impacts that offering this approach can have on your business, your income, and your individual and relational life. I've been a leader in the field of dialogue for the past 25 years, well equipped to help you develop a dialogue practice. My work as a trainer, mentor, and coach has helped over 30,000 professionals in the US and 25 other countries to enable their clients to navigate deep differences. My dialogue facilitation practice has also taken me across the US and to 10 other countries where I've worked in contexts of deep poverty, great wealth, and in between to design and facilitate conversations on deeply divisive issues. And I've worked with people at high, medium, low, and middle levels of power with multiple racial, sexual, gender, religious, and generational identities as a facilitator, as a conflict coach, and as a trainer. And in all cases, I have helped them to engage the toughest issues of their contexts in our time. Because my work has been effective, I've been invited to teach in the top 3 dispute resolution institutes in the US, as well as Harvard Divinity School and the Boston University School of Theology, and invited to be a coach and consultant at the Harvard Negotiation Project for 15 years. My work has been featured by Mediators Beyond Borders, by the Association for Conflict Resolution, and by the National Coalition for Dialogue and Deliberation in the US, and the Finnish Refugee Council's Center for Community Mediation in Helsinki, as well as the U.S. Embassy to the Philippines. I've published articles in several scholarly journals, chapters in books, and have also learned valuable lessons by teaching in state hospitals, shelters, churches, bar rooms, and beauty parlors. I've been training mediators for decades. I was very fortunate to collaborate with Baruch Bush and Joe Folger on the first national mediator training in transformative mediation as part of the launch of the United Postal Service Innovative Redress Program, for which I also served as a mediator for many years. But most importantly, I'm a dad who has raised kids in an interreligious home and a blended family. I know that the biggest challenge to practicing dialogue, inclusion, and conflict transformation is right there at the dining room table. And I've had lots of opportunities to put my professional work into personal practice at home with my wife, my kids, my extended family, not always successfully, but enough that I and all of my family members can honestly say that a dialogic approach to relationships has changed our lives for the better. Having been a mediator and a psychotherapist myself for many years, I understand both the value and limitations of those practices. While working as a mediator with family, business, and neighborhood disputes is rewarding and impactful for the parties when it breaks log jams of opposition, mediation can also be limited in scale, in practitioner income, and in the effects that it can have on the organizations where people work and the communities they live in. And the same was true for my practice as a psychotherapist. Very valuable, but limited, and I was frustrated about that. Then I discovered a specific approach to conversation that shifted my outlook, my hopes, and ultimately my profession. I had enjoyed my counseling and mediation work. I liked helping people, and I still do, but I became frustrated with the limited reach and impact of my efforts. I knew that I could help individuals, couples, and families, but I could not affect the context that they came from and would return to. And helping people grapple with the larger social identity and values issues was beyond my ken with the tools and skills that I had. In addition, the ripple effects of my work were limited in scope, and there was a built-in limit to the number of people I could serve and the income I could generate. Then I learned about the power of intentionally designed conversation to transform individuals, relationships, communities, and organizations. I learned how carefully crafting the process and preparation for conversations on tough issues can dramatically shift speaking, listening, and the willingness of people divided by difference to collaborate. In 1994, I was still a practicing therapist and the director of a national training program to bring therapeutic skills to non-therapists. After I attended the first session of the first dialogue workshop offered by the Public Conversations Project in Cambridge, Mass., I traveled to a city in the southern U.S. to lead a 5-day training to help shelter staff offer enhanced services to unhoused women and their children with mental health challenges. The group was comprised of 10 black female shelter directors and 10 white female volunteer directors. At 11 a.m. on day one, a conflict arose about race, gender, and social class that threatened to end the training before it began. I was sweating bullets. I didn't know what to do. But I used a couple of basic tools that I had learned, that I just learned, for structuring conversation to invite story, to honor identity, and to spark curiosity. And over the course of the next few hours, that room was transformed. Stony silence and avoidance gave way to stories shared, tears shed, and questions of genuine interest and connection asked. In the succeeding days, people ate together, talked together, laughed together. Differences were neither minimized nor erased. Rather, they were explored, honored. And at the end of the training, instead of just wrapping up a one-off contract, I walked away with 2 more years of work. In the years since then, in Boston, Paris, Helsinki, Manila, and dozens of other places, I've seen firsthand how years-long divisions could be bridged, how relationships, organizations, and whole communities could be transformed through the power of dialogue. It's challenging, rewarding, and exciting work. And in my past 27 years as a dialogue facilitator, trainer, and mentor, I have greatly expanded my impact and my income. My offerings have affected businesses, nonprofits, religious organizations, national and international networks, as well as the individuals within them and their families. I've helped people in organizations and communities change the ways they connect around difference, which changes the ways they work together. And I've increased my income. My dialogue projects range from $5,000 to $50,000, with an average around $10,000, and run from a single session to 3 years of work. Along the way, I've always been stimulated and challenged to innovate and grow. My teaching, mentoring, and coaching approach can help you expand your practice as well. In addition to tools and skills, doing this work well requires psychological and emotional depth, strength, deep self-awareness, design sophistication, and an understanding of group dynamics, among other things. Yes, you can pick up some of the tools and skills by going to a workshop or taking a class. I teach in both formats, and they're really valuable, but they're limited. There's just not enough time and too many people to be able to go deep. Growing these qualities is best done through a relationship with a trusted mentor. A class or workshop in its very nature can only do so much, leaving participants to figure the rest out on their own. I'm looking for people who want to learn and practice dialogue at a sophisticated level. Mediators who want to see more made of their investment of time and energy, who want to make a bigger impact on the divisions that are splitting organizations, families, and our world. Professionals who want to open another stream of income. Here's how I'm going to get you to the point of facilitating group conversations on divisive issues by adding to your skill set and leveraging what you already bring as an ADR practitioner. I will train you at a high level, offering content, learning experiences, and assignments over enough time that you'll have the chance to apply what you're learning and receive coaching along the way. I'll offer you weekly coaching, mentoring, and support through a limited membership online coaching group of like-minded professionals. I will be available every day via a social media group. You will have no long waits to get your questions answered. In the end, you will be able to offer dialogue, design, and facilitation to organizations and communities with people who are in crisis, divided by differences that cannot be mediated to agreement. Are you a mediator or a related professional? Do you want to expand your practice? Do you want to offer additional services and have a bigger impact on organizations? Do you want to help create more inclusive communities where there is a place of respect for all voices? If so, I'd like to talk with you. I'm currently selecting my next 4 candidates to work with me and a small group of peers. To qualify, you need to be interested in people and committed to inclusion, constructive conversation, and relationships. You need mediation or similar experience in alternative dispute resolution or another discipline. And finally, and maybe most importantly, you need to have an appreciative perspective about people's challenges and be willing to invest the time and effort necessary to make a lasting difference. If what I've described aligns with your vision for an expanded and more impactful practice, I'd like to talk with you and see if it's the right fit for you. Please click the link below and we'll set up a 15-minute call. If it makes sense for us to work together, you will enjoy a substantial discount which will no longer be available after this round. Thanks for watching. I look forward to talking with you.